Bonjour tout le monde et bienvenue au Sommet national sur la culture au Centre national des arts.
Anin Bojo. Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here with all of you. Welcome to the National Culture Summit at the National Arts Center. And can we all please give a warm round of applause for our opening drummers, the Ottawa River Singers. Before going any further, I would like to acknowledge that this beautiful land that we are gathered here today on is the traditional unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe. And I would like to acknowledge ancestors past, present, and future. It is a real privilege to be here together, and I really just want to say much respect. And in that spirit, we are going to open with Elder Verna McGregor. Elder McGregor, will you join us for an opening? Oh, wonderful.
I should take off my mask. Kwekakina, bonjour tout le monde. Hello, everybody. Can anybody translate that? En français. I'd like to welcome you here to our traditional unceded lands, and I say thank you for coming this evening. I always start with, for those of you who've heard me before, I always talk about the significance of Ottawa. I always introduce myself to say, Kwe Verna Ndishnikas, Kilganzibin and Donja Bawagosh, Nedo Demashichonim Kipanesi. Why I say that is, my name is Verna McGregor. I'm from Kilganzibin Anishinaabe, which is 120 kilometers north of here. And I say, Wagosh, Nedo Demashichonim Kipanesi. The Fox is my clan on my mother's side, and Thunderbird is my clan on my father's side. Why we say that is prior to contact, our clan system was based on the watershed, and we'd meet here in the summer. And why this was so significant is that it's that confluence of the rivers coming together from the four directions. And it's similar to the medicine wheel, in which I bring here. And again, it represents the four colors of people, which I always say diversity. It represents the four directions, the four seasons, and your earth journey here. But the most important thing of this, it represents to the need for balance for your emotional, spiritual and mental, physical and mental. And because at the center here, that's where the balance is. And I find it interesting that Parliament Hill is at that center. And all the government, federal departments are here too. So, and we've learned culture. We've witnessed other people's cultures too. In addition to now, we're getting to freely share our own. And I want to thank you for having the drummers here tonight too. And so I'm just going to say a real quick prayer to honor the ancestors whose lands we're meeting on here too today. So I say, Miigwech, Jimanado, Oncheni Kashkito, Jamao Dose, Konshe Nongo, Mama Kakina Pamatsijik, Widokwa Kakina. Miigwech only Kakina Gagishan Don, no shame mom again in the Kimenon. Shkakikwasian Kason in the Kimenon, Widokwa Kakina Pamatsijik, Onje Nagdo Abdan, Kakina Guchin in the Kimenon. Miigwech onje ya Kakina take Kishgon Keys, to be keys, as a Shetcher Nangshak. We do quite knock Miss Non on Janagdo Abdan Kakina Guch to be Nabi Punkson C B Saigon Kachigagam, Migwech on Jayash Kudek, Kakimishan, Chibino Objetoyan, we do Kakina in a work. Migwech on Jena Seven, Kakimishan, Chibino Pamatsian, we do Kakina, Mom de Geta Shock was a chick mom with COVID-19. I should Kakina was a win. Can't she squat Nigwe de Seaman Kego Gajaman and Doshit Khan and Notch Guch Nigwe de Seaman, Schwen Mishnon in Abigus, me, yeah. Miigwech, 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 miigwech. Miigwech is merci, thank you. And I say it 4 times to honor again these 4 directions. And I look forward to the discussions and your gatherings, because it's always very interesting. So say miigwech.
Miigwech, merci, thank you. Thank you for opening this for us in a good way. Jaush Kobaneze Kwe Desnikas Migazi Dodem Bachuanan Donjaba Ojibwe Anishinaabe and Dao. My name is Shoshona Kish. I'm Eagle Clan. My family is from a beautiful place on the shores of Lake Superior called Batchewana, and it is my pleasure to be your co-host this evening.
Merci, je m'appelle Robert Gagné. Je suis né à Rouyn-Noranda d'un père franco-manitobain, d'une mère montréalaise.
My name is I grew up here in Ottawa on this beautiful Algonquin territory. I will be your co-host tonight for this evening, then for this show.
We are all going to wear our masks as we gather here, and it feels pretty great to be indoors with all. Pretty happy to be here together again. But out of respect for one another, let's keep our masks on unless we're on stage or we're eating or drinking.
Effectivement, nous rappelons aux gens ici sur place qu'il est nécessaire de porter un masque, sauf si vous mangez, buvez ou êtes sur scène. Nous tenons à souhaiter la bienvenue à tous les artistes qui se
We
produisent.
want to welcome all the artists who come on stage tonight, and during the next 2 days, we wish you all welcome, colleagues, guests. Thank you to take the time to link with us and to participate in the conversation and to celebrate our resiliency, as we are all so impatient to go to the next step, to the
Off by welcoming Christopher Deacon, President and Chief Executive Officer of the National Arts Center. Oh, there you are.
Thank you very much, Shoshana and Robert. Bonsoir, Kwe, good evening. Thank you very much, Elder McGregor, for those kind words. It's a great pleasure to welcome you to the National Arts Centre for what will be a historic summit for all of us as arts, culture, and heritage leaders. It's wonderful to look up and see so many familiar faces in the room, that many of whom I have only seen on Zoom screens for the last 2 years. And isn't it great to be together? C'est un grand plaisir de vous voir en personne. Il me tarde d'échanger avec plusieurs d'entre vous et d'entendre demain et mercredi les panélistes nous entretenir sur l'avenir de nos milieux. Starting tonight and over the next 2 days, artists and creators will perform for us. They will inspire us and help us reflect on what we've come here to talk about, the future of Canada's creativity and artistry. The federal government, through our Prime Minister, his cabinet, and Minister Rodriguez, have been proactive, helping arts organizations, theater and dance companies, museums and historic sites, the gig economy and music industry, orchestras, arts venues, and creative industries get through 2 very difficult years. Prime Minister, thank you for your support of the arts and culture sector, and your presence here means so much to us. Some of you may know that I have been working in this building for 34 years, and I believe it is the first time I have seen a Canadian Prime Minister greeting the arts community here to speak about arts policy. So it's a very welcome thing. Ce sommet national n'aurait été possible sans le leadership de notre infatigable, oh mon Dieu, ministre du patrimoine canadien, l'honorable Pablo Rodriguez. Je vous promets que Je vais pratiquer le mot la prochaine fois. Alors, Monsieur le ministre, merci de nous réunir et d'ouvrir le dialogue et la réflexion sur notre avenir. As I welcome you to the podium, Minister, I want to thank you for bringing us together and for your leadership and support of the arts, heritage, and culture sectors.
Thank you so much, Christopher. Premier ministre, collègues, distingués invités, salut tout le monde. Hey everyone, you're beautiful. It's great to see you guys. It's really great to see you. Alors, bienvenue à ce qui marque le début de notre semaine nationale sur la culture. Before we get started, I would like to acknowledge everyone celebrate Eid. Eid is a time to honor the core values of generosity, compassion, and peace. Eid Mubarak. Guys, we're here. Ça y est, on est enfin réunis, là. Et je suis vraiment content. Là. C'est maudit que ça fait du bien de vous voir en personne. Vous êtes beaux sur Teams, puis vous êtes bien beaux sur Zoom, mais vous êtes beaucoup plus beaux en personne. You guys look great on Zoom, but you look much better in person. So it's the first time in a very, very long time that we can have really important discussions about the future of the arts, culture, and heritage sectors. And the summit is it is important to me, it is important to the Prime Minister, and it's important to all of us. And we've all been looking forward to this for a very, very, very long time. Et les derniers mois, les dernières années, là, ils ont été rough. On va se le dire, là, ça a été rough. Et en particulier pour vous, pour le secteur de la culture. Mais vous n'avez pas eu le choix, vous êtes retroussé les manches, vous êtes réinventé plus d'une fois. Et pour ça, vous avez tout mon respect et toute mon admiration. Et pendant les mois où on était au pire de la pandémie, parce qu'il y a eu des pires moments, là, vous avez quand même réussi à nous unir, alors qu'on devait rester loin les uns des autres. Vous nous avez rapprochés collectivement. And you guys also had to figure out new ways of bringing arts and our stories to audiences who were stuck. They were stuck at home for most of this pandemic. And you did it. You did it because you all understand how powerful art, music, film, and stories are to making us feel connected. You helped us. You really helped us get through this pandemic. And for that, I'm so grateful. We're all so grateful. Thank you so much for that. And for us as a government, we did our very best. We're not perfect. We did our very best. We try to support you. We try to be there with you every step of the way. At the start of the pandemic, remember, we launched our $500 million emergency fund and several other compensation funds. Par la suite, dans le budget de 2021, on a prévu plus de 1,9 milliard de dollars pour aider le secteur à traverser la crise. Et cette aide-là continue sur plusieurs années, au moment où on se parle, mais encore pour plusieurs années. Et dans le budget du dernier mois, bien, on a réservé un autre 12 millions au Centre national des arts pour soutenir les productions canadiennes commerciales et aussi à but non lucratif. Et dans le même budget, on a rajouté un autre 50 millions de dollars pour aider vos organismes pour les pertes de revenus qui sont liées aux mesures sanitaires. Et là, on voit graduellement le bout. On revoit nos salles se remplir. On est ensemble ici et aujourd'hui. Et ensemble, justement, on peut se positionner pour mieux préparer l'avenir. Et avec moi, bien, on l'a vu, j'ai un invité de marque. Ça, c'est mon boss, c'est un invité très spécial. C'est le grand boss. Il n'est pas juste grand, c'est le grand boss aussi. Et il est avec nous. Pourquoi? Parce que c'est important pour lui aussi. Et moi, je peux vous dire que comme ministre du patrimoine, à chaque moment, à chaque instant, j'ai toujours l'appui du Premier ministre du Canada. Et and before I turn to him, I have some exciting news to share about a play called, you may know this, a play called Come From Away. You've heard this before? Well, in December, Come From Away closed due to the uncertainty around COVID, and this was sad news for all of us, especially for my colleagues from Newfoundland and Labrador, and they're all here in the room. Hey guys, I don't recognize you without a beer. So Thanks for being here. So, so it was really, really, really sad news, because Come From Away is an iconic Canadian story, a story about the generous spirit of Canadians, a story about kindness and compassion, a story about Canadian values. So when we heard the news, we say, we cannot let that happen. So I started working with the solution with the deputy, Isabelle, and others, and the team. So tonight, I'm really happy to announce that Come From Away is coming back. So thanks to the leadership of David Mervish and Christopher Deacon, Come From Away will return with an all-Canadian cast for an extended run starting at the National Arts Centre in 2024. And I think, as we all know, this is great news for the cast, great news for the audience, great news for all Canadians. So thank you for your leadership in bringing this back. Bon. Maintenant, je vais arrêter de parler parce que souvent le Premier ministre dit tu parles trop longtemps. Je vais en garder pour demain, mais et on a une grosse journée. Je vais être là demain, je vais être là après-demain, je vais être là à chaque moment avec vous. J'ai vraiment hâte. Je vous remercie de tout cœur d'être là. Et maintenant, je laisse la parole au très honorable Justin Trudeau.
Merci Pablo, merci pour ton leadership, ton énergie, surtout ton enthousiasme, mais surtout ton attention infatigable aux arts. It's okay, Chris. I was born in Ottawa too. It is great to see you all in person. Great news, Pablo, first of all, for Come From Away with an all-Canadian cast here at the NAC. That'll be great. We're all looking forward to that. Mais vraiment, là, ce que Pablo a dit, là, c'est tellement le fun de voir tout le monde rassemblé ici au Centre national des arts durant cet important sommet de la culture. We're all, I think, pretty pleased to be gathering in person, but you know, Zoom was good and it had its places, and I think the fact that we're going to be able to continue to move forward in a way that has been informed by these difficult 2 years and do lots of things in person and a few things virtually will make sure that we get everything done. I have to say, I was just about an hour ago on Instagram Live, just sort of doing a virtual thing, to kick off Asian Heritage Month here in Canada with the newest addition to the Marvel Cinematic Universe from Canada, Simu Liu, who was awesome. And he's an amazingly powerful, not just actor, but writer and producer of content as well, and telling stories that span the breadth and scope of this country and beyond is what this community has always done so well, but has rarely been as important as we're all trying to come together and learn from each other and figure out the right path forward after this pandemic. We often say that culture is at the heart of who we are. To think of culture as heart is a great image because it's true on so many levels. When artists tell stories through whichever medium they choose, they bring life to every part of our country, from coast to coast to coast. They move us. They challenge us. They make us feel what they feel. Your work is at the heart of who we are because you create shared experiences which play a fundamental role in building a stronger, more cohesive society. We have a country that is very proud of its diversity, proud of its differences, incredibly rich because of all those differences. But diversity on its own doesn't create strength. Diversity that leans in to learn from each other, to challenge itself with those differences, to share those perspectives and those experiences, to build something greater than the whole, than the sum of its parts. That's what Canada, and specifically the Canadian arts community, has been unbelievably good at over the past decades. And it's a story that needs to be celebrated both through the individual stories, but also by standing up strongly and proudly and showcasing what happens when you have a vibrant, empowered, supported, diverse arts community. The world is filled with conflicts and differences and challenges. And our capacity to lean on each other, to draw those stories together, to weave them into an extraordinary overarching narrative that we can all see ourselves in. That's the challenge of the 21st century. And that's the challenge we don't meet unless all of you are at your very best. So that's why I want to start tonight by thanking you. Thank you to the people on stage and backstage. Thank you to the technicians who work long hours, the booking agents who take risks, the museum workers who dutifully preserve our history. You are doing outstanding work, but you are also doing essential work for all of us. Les 2 dernières années ont été extrêmement difficiles. Comme Pablo vient juste de le dire, dès le début de la pandémie, on a mis sur pied le fonds d'urgence pour soutenir les organismes chargés de la culture. Ce fonds a permis à des milliers d'organismes de rester opérationnels. Récemment, j'ai rencontré un couple de 2 musiciens classiques à Kitchener. Ian est contrebassiste et Allen était violoniste. Ils ont 2 jeunes enfants. Leur orchestre n'a pas pu donner de concert pendant une partie de la pandémie, mais au moins ils ont pu garder leur emploi grâce aux différents programmes de soutien comme la subvention salariale. Puis je ne veux pas réfléchir à comment on serait plus pauvre en tant que pays si on avait perdu pendant cette pandémie de nombreux contrebassistes et violonistes. Il fallait qu'on tienne bon. Et parce qu'on a tenu bon ensemble, ces 2 sont contents de pouvoir recommencer à jouer leur instrument pour gagner leur vie, mais aussi pour reconnecter avec le public. Ils restent optimistes, mais ils vivent encore avec beaucoup d'incertitudes. Alors, cette semaine, le Sommet national sur la culture est l'occasion de continuer à travailler ensemble pour s'assurer que la relance soit forte et durable pour des gens comme Ian et Alain. Arts, culture, and heritage are also significant drivers of our economy. And as you know, I'm not only talking about ticket sales and revenues. When people go to see plays, concerts, or dance performances, that often involves getting dinner nearby or a visit to the boutique. On top of that, your contributions attract tourists from across the country and around the world. Everyone benefits it. So it's important that we continue to be here to support you. We know that many cultural workers are independent and self-employed. So in February, we launched the Performing Arts Workers Resilience Fund to provide targeted assistance to those who need it. Today, I can announce that 4 independent agencies will distribute $50 million directly to affected self-employed individuals in the sector. La Fondation des Artistes, the Actors Fund of Canada, the Canadian Dance Assembly, and the Unison Benevolent Fund will help us provide nationwide coverage to a range of artists and technicians. We'll have more to say soon, well, Pablo will have more to say soon on how we'll deliver support for professional development and mentoring, also through the Resilience Fund. Just as artists are significant economic drivers, you also drive important conversations. I was in Winnipeg a little over a week ago to attend a ceremony for the transfer of the historic Hudson's Bay building to the Southern Chiefs organization. The building will be renovated and repurposed, but it's vacant right now. So last year, partners in the community decided to use the window panels to do an installation that features artwork from Indigenous artists Peter Thomas and Glenn Gear. Projects like these help us see the world through each other's eyes. They help us understand one another. que ce soit des pièces de théâtre documentaires qui parlent d'environnement ou des spectacles de spoken word qui traitent d'expériences vécues de discrimination, la culture nous fait réfléchir et elle nous fait évoluer. Maintenant, suite à la pandémie, avec les nouvelles technologies, vos secteurs changent rapidement, pas seulement ici, mais partout dans le monde. This week's summit is important because we have to continue working together to ensure long-term growth and competitiveness for your sectors. We want you to have the tools you need to win back audiences, adapt to new digital platforms, and be part of the conversation for a more open and inclusive society. So thank you for your participation. Our government will continue working with you as partners because we understand. I think, here Pablo and I are going to pull the Quebecer card. But il y a un élément d'identité, de culture que nous, les Québécois, ont toujours compris, mais qu'on voit à travers le pays de plus en plus fort. In a globalized world, in a digital world, in a diverse world, it becomes so much more important to share and tell our stories. And the fact that new platforms allow us to play to such larger audiences everywhere around the world. It's an incredibly important opportunity, not just for Canadian artists to resonate around the world, but for the message that we have to share of what we've managed to develop here in this country by being open to one another, by not having to leave one culture behind to melt into a pot of a uniform culture, however unsuccessful that always ends up trying to be. But a country and an identity that is proud of the layers and textures and stories that are all piled in together and coexisting simultaneously. And it's as important to celebrate our successes, as it is, like come from away, as it is to look squarely at where we've faltered, at where as a country we haven't lived up to the idea of Canada that we all carry in our minds. The story of residential schools and the need for more reconciliation being first and foremost around that. But there are so many layers of stories that need to be told. Stories that are distinctly Canadian, but universal in their application. And the way we are able to make sure that all of you and everyone, each of you, one of you here represents in various ways, shapes, or forms, is able to find your strongest voice, is able to pierce through in a time of so much cynicism, of skepticism, of polarization in some ways, to reach out and grab that common humanity, those shared experiences that unite us, and that, yes, define us, even in all our differences. The role of the arts in making us think, in making us dream, in challenging us, yes, but also in defining ourselves for ourselves through our strong songs and our stories, in every way we have to challenge and share. These are things that are becoming more and more important in a world in challenge and in a world in crisis. And I am unbelievable. And let me just finish on that note then, because you seem to like it. I am incredibly, incredibly privileged to be able to be the Prime Minister of Canadians at a time where all of you are stepping up, not just in this room, but across the country from coast to coast to coast, to build stronger communities, to build a better country, to build a better world. Merci, mes amis.
Monsieur le Premier ministre, merci pour ces mots. C'est un réel privilège de vous voir parmi nous ce soir.
Chimigwech, Prime Minister Trudeau and Minister Rodriguez, I think this is an incredibly important time for our storytellers. And I think our storytellers tell us who we have been, who we are right now, and help us dream who we might become. And I think that we've been seeing evidence of that through this last 2 harrowing years. It's been a tough few years. And I've been so proud to be a part of a community that not only was lifting up their voices, amplifying each other's voices, but also coming forward with all of this innovation and creativity and critical problem solving when their community was in need, and that's all of you. So I just want to say chimigwech for that. And I want to say chimigwech to the government for the support in recovery and reopening in an emergency when we were most at need, and for the ongoing support as we continue this work together. I would like to acknowledge the Canadian Heritage and I just want to say chimigwech to all of you, a little bit off script, because I know that in this room are the dreams that we need for where we go next, and I really look forward to talking to you all about that. That's what happens. It's all my fault.
Well, over the past 2 years, our sectors have greatly benefited from the emergency recovery and reopening funding. Earlier this year, Canadian Heritage launched the Canada Performing Arts Workers Resilience Fund, a $50 million program designed to keep our skilled workers at work. Nous invitons maintenant sur scène Madame Sophie Préjean, présidente de l'Union des artistes, pour qu'elle nous parle justement des répercussions de ce financement et bien d'autres choses. Madame Préjean.
Hi, everybody. I'm proud to be here tonight. Monsieur le Premier ministre, Monsieur le ministre, merci de nous recevoir. C'est un bel événement ce soir, de nous rassembler tous ensemble pour parler de culture. Le mois de mars 2019 a été un mois marquant pour notre société. Ça a été le début de quelque chose de terrible que nous ne pouvions pas prévoir à ce moment-là. Il y a eu des événements traumatisants, je préfère les laisser derrière moi, vous en avez probablement tous vécu aussi. Mais comme j'ai été bien élevée, je vais tenter de faire ressortir le côté positif, puisqu'il y a du positif dans tout et que j'ai besoin d'apprendre de ce qui s'est passé. De cet état d'urgence-là me revient quelques mots en mémoire. D'abord, le rapprochement. Nous avions des rapports avec nos gouvernements, j'oserais dire cordiaux, respectifs et officiels. Et nous sommes passés à des rapports humains, voire quelquefois même de nos gouvernements. Je me souviens de quelques échanges avec M. Guilbeault à l'époque, inquiet. Moi aussi d'ailleurs, très très inquiète pour notre culture à tous. Et ça, j'aimerais que ça reste. Ça a été important pour nous. Et s'il est une chose qui doit rester, c'est ce rapport humain que nous devions d'établir. On n'avait pas le choix, on était dans l'urgence. Le deuxième, c'est la débrouillardise. Vous avez inventé des outils qui n'existaient pas. Il a fallu le faire rapidement, diligemment et efficacement. Sinon, tout un secteur, des artistes, des arts de la scène, pour le préciser, parce que de notre côté, c'est vraiment ceux qui ont le plus souffert et qui ont été le plus fragilisés par la pandémie, tous ces artistes de scène. Donc, un respect, une grande humanité qui est ressortie de ça, et beaucoup d'outils salutaires pour le secteur de la culture. Je reconnais votre travail, votre intérêt pour la culture, pour l'art et pour la nécessité d'avoir une identité forte ici, au Canada. Je reconnais les efforts, je reconnais les humains qui ont travaillé avec beaucoup, beaucoup de passion. Ça va changer l'avenir de nos artistes. Ça va faire en sorte que moins d'artistes vont quitter notre secteur. Ça m'importe et probablement que ça vous importe tous autant que moi. Vous avez été derrière nous, mais ultimement, vous avez été avec nous et près de nous. Ça a changé notre avenir. Merci. Au nom de la Fondation des artistes et au nom de l'Union des artistes et tous les artistes que nous représentons, merci infiniment. Thank you.
Merci. Thank you. Miigwech, Madame Prejean. We look forward to hearing from you at the plenary tomorrow.
Nous savons que les 2 dernières années ont été longues. Nous n'avons pas vu nos collègues, pas vu ni assisté à des spectacles, ni visité de musées, du moins autant que nous l'aurions voulu. Et nous n'avons tout simplement pas été en communauté. Profitons de l'occasion ce soir et au cours des prochains jours pour renouer avec nos collaborateurs de longue date et nos collègues et pour faire de nouvelles rencontres.
But before we do, we're thrilled to introduce the Miguel de Armas Quartet. And after this, it will be time to mingle, and we'll get to visit with one another some more, accompanied by the sounds of DJ and singer, artist Sandy Duperval. Let's give them a warm welcome.